And so I figured, why not today? It's going to be an early Sunday morning, NFC Championship game day. And what I'm doing today is I'm going to be brewing a regular classic Saison today. I'll give you more info a little bit later. This is just a little intro to it. So go and stay tuned. This is the Beersmith program. It's the first time I've ever used it. So I figured why not give this thing a shot. Over here, last night I made a yeast starter with, it's a French Saison Y Yeast Labs 3711. I made this almost 24 hours ago, and the sucker's looking pretty. So over here I've already done my hops, where I have my 60-minute drop, which is a full ounce of East Kent Golding. And then at my 15-minute boil, I have a half ounce of the East Coast or East Kent Golding, and then another half ounce of Styrian Golding. That's all the hops during the boil that I need to do. I still have to add a quarter of an ounce of each for a dry hop stage. So I'm just starting to get everything ready for this morning. So I'll see you later. Here's one of the processes that I'm improving a little bit. I used to just wash and sanitize each piece as it came. A buddy of mine suggested that I get some food grade buckets, fill each one with a PBW and one with Star Sand, and just let them sit in there the entire time to clean them up. So that's what I went ahead and did. One of the other things is aerating my wort. I was an old school guy with that, whereas I'd shake the carboy or my ferment bucket. And I got kind of tired of it, so I went ahead and picked up the oxygenation kit and a couple bottles from my local hardware store. This little bastard in here, it's pretty, pretty ingenious actually. So there's a little 5 micron stainless steel stone that's in there, 16-inch rod. And then it connects to, which is left-handed threads. So remind you, these little oxygen bottles, because it's oxygen, it's reverse thread. So it's not righty-tighty. It's opposite. So I'll be using that to aerate my wort today. As well as a couple other little upgrades that I've done. So I'll see you outside. So here's my water filter. I might have shown you this before. I'm not sure. Basically, I have my leaky ass garden hose coming in the inlet side, have it on filter, go through this bad boy, coming right back out, and I'm filling up my HLT right now, hot liquor tank. I'm going to be filling this thing up. Might be a little tough to see. You'll see that 10-gallon mark. I'm going to be going just a little bit above that bad boy. Because I have about a gallon's worth of dead space under this bad boy, and I want to make sure that I have enough water for everything, so I only have to fill this sucker once. Probably about 6-7 pounds in, I'm going to go ahead and do a weight check. If I have to kind of fill it by hand, then so be it. This is actually my first version of doing this whole thing. You'll see once I have everything ready to go, I'll obviously take another video and you'll see how my setup is. It's kind of jerry-rigged, but hopefully it works. We'll find out. Just so you guys can see, here's a pH meter. Right here, I gotta do this kind of quick because my water's almost filled up. Right now, coming out of the filter, we got 7.6, so that's the reason why we use chemicals. Alright, first thing I know I'm going to do with my next brew is I'm going to do a mod on that so I can just fill it straight up from there. I filled this thing up to the little about 10.5 gallon mark, and this thing was uncomfortable to lift. I wouldn't say it'd probably be too heavy. I probably could have done it, but I didn't want to strain, force myself, spill the whole damn thing all over the place and whatnot. So I got about 10.5 gallons in here. I got the burner on, so I'm gonna heat this bad boy up. Yes, I know I have a burner on top of a plastic container. This is my other mash tun for my bigger grains. So I'll set up everything else so you can kind of see the whole outlook of the whole thing. So see you in a bit. Here's all the grain that I got from my old beer program, which is iBrewmaster 2, versus me using this Beersmith for the first time and doing an equipment profile for all this fun stuff. I wanted to, it looked like I needed to up the grain a little bit, so I wound up doing that. So here I actually have 5 pounds of Pilsner 2-row from Belgium. I have 5 pounds of Vienna malt and 2 pounds of wheat malt, and that's all the grain there is for this. So it's only a 12-pound grain bill, so it's not too bad. Here's kind of a better look of how my 3-tier system is going to be. Liquor tank with all the water, mash tun, and now I'll be draining into a boil kettle right there. Like I said, this is this is my very first setup with this entire way. I was a one-pot brewer, and I did a lot of upgrades. The freaking ball valves, everything else. I still got work to do, but that's how it's coming so far. And right now we're looking at about 96 degrees or so. It's about halfway there. And over here is my pre-stage water for my recirc my plate chiller. There's my pump, and then inside my PBW I have a lot of the parts that I'm going to be using today. Nothing in the star sand yet, because nothing needs to be sanitized just before touching. So I'm getting there. Just like what happens every time you do something on the first run. You get a small leak. See that sucker drop right there. Right here in between that washer and the back side of the 10 gauge. So, I mean, it's a very small leak. I'm not too concerned with it right now. Running a little over 120 degrees right now, so I'll keep an eye on it. Unless this thing starts leaking like a sieve, I'm not going to cancel everything, because hell, I got almost 10.5 gallons of water freaking heating up at 120 degrees, and it's going to take forever for that sucker to cool down. So just some of those things to keep an eye out on. Another thing looks like I said, being first run and everything, the heat from it's transferring from the actual table itself. I can't tell if it's just the weight or actual heat, but I'm starting to see little dips over here. So definitely use like a piece of plywood or something underneath next time. Once again, another learning experience. Something to do for the next one. Okay, I hit my temperature, 168. I'm not going to worry about the 0.1 or whatever. So I'm going to go ahead and open this bastard up. I'm going to fill this thing up to 3.8 gallons, which is going to be right about in this area. So that's the only thing, is I don't have a super good measurement for my mash tun. So here in a little bit, when it's filled up, I'm going to take a pH reading and put in my pH salts and my beer salts. Alright, I just added my pH chemicals and my water salts. Let's find out what we got here. Don't know if you're able to see that. We're at about, it was 5.2, now it's going down a little bit, 4.9. So could be from the beer salts. I mean, I just put it in and then just started this video. So just kind of stirring up the water a little bit. Lost about a degree or two from not being on the heat. So I'm going to be doing it in here pretty soon. Alright, so I just mashed in or dough'd in all my grain. And according to this bad boy, this is coming in at 154 on the money. Beautiful. So now this is about, I think, a 47-minute sit time. And so basically, you know, every couple minutes I'll open it, or every 20 minutes or so I'll open it up, kind of stir it up a little bit, and we'll see what goes on from here. Figure while I'm waiting another half hour for my grains to do its wonderful thing, converting the starch to sugars. I went ahead, this is my deep freezer right here, my fermentation chamber / lager, whatever you want to call it. Alright, this is my box, the STC 1000 right here. I did a lot of different things than what I saw on YouTube. For the most part, I saw one connection, one for heat, one for cool, etc., etc. I wanted to make sure I had two, just in case there's other things I needed to do. Also, I have a dead man switch, so no matter what happens with the power coming in here, if I kill that, there's no power up here. I wanted to make sure that was good, as well as I wanted a quick indication light, so I knew if it was cooling or if it was heating. So that's just some ideas for you guys out there if you want to do your own STC box. And then on the inside, I'll go ahead and move my Mac. Just move this way over here. Yeah, my garage is like completely friggin' full. So here on the inside of my chest freezer, I have these are some of those bricks. I guess I have it all the way at the very bottom, only because it's when I put in my carboy or my fermentation bucket, it's a little too deep and it doesn't quite sit right because of this little lip. So I have this up a little higher, so it makes everything easier. This right here is a thermometer. It's a little space heater, and this sucker right here is a dehumidifier. Okay, that just kicked on, and I got a little red light. It looks orange, but it's red. Red for heat. So let you know everything's working. So anyway, I got this renewable mini dehumidifier from Amazon. I thought it was wonderful for something this big, because if you look there, you see how, well, that little window right there tells you, dry, wet, etc., etc. But the good thing is you can plug this thing in, and then it'll just basically blow all the moisture out of this thing, and then you unplug it, stick it back in, and have it do its same thing again. So once again, just more ideas for the other home brewers out there. So yeah, there she is. This thing is awesome. There's plenty of other videos, by the way, of plugging those suckers in. I have a variance of plus or minus 3 degrees, which is, a 6 degree plus or minus total is probably seems to be about the average for yeast strains. So anyway, here we go. So typically on a brew day, I know it's customary to where you drink one of your home brews while you're brewing a new home brew. Well, you know what? It's just way too goddamn early in the morning. Gotta have the coffee. Go Niners. So, coffee this early in the morning. Can't do beer before like 11. It just doesn't feel right. Alright, still have about another 15 minutes left of the mash in. And then I'm going to be doing some fly sparging. Okay, my timer went off, so my sparge is done. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the first runnings, cycle that thing through so I get a nice clean grain bed. So as you can see, there's all those grains right there just floating and chugging around. Don't want that in my wort. Add this back to the mash. Let me show you what the second one looks like. And I'll do this one just as big. So you see that the sediment is a lot less this time. So I'll probably do it one more time, and then I'm going to let my runnings go. Yeah, man. So this is about the fourth running coming through, and you can see how much clearer that is. There's still a little bit of grains in there, but I can deal with something like that. So as you can see, I'm filling up my boil pot. I'm regulating this so it will have just enough water at the top. I got this going all the way up to that hot liquor tank, which is right at my my sparge water temp. I have to increase this rate just a little bit more. I'm getting too much of a water up on the top. So, like I said, this is my first time doing a sparge like this. So I'm still learning myself. If you ain't learning, you ain't trying. Okay, first super big problem is this bastard. I have a false bottom in this thing. It might be because I don't have a big enough spout coming out. I don't know. But this thing keeps slowing down to stop. I'm having to actually blow back to try to get this thing unstuck. But I don't know if it's the grains kind of covering all the little perforated holes or whatnot. This is my first time I've ever had to deal with a stuck sparge. But because I used to have the braided cord on the inside. But so far this isn't making me all nice and happy with this stuck sparge. So, yeah, like I said, there's learning to do. But that's a sad. So this thing is actually coming out pretty friggin' slow. Alright, it took freaking forever. Definitely something I'm going to have to investigate. But, got my my volume all set and ready to go. So, she looks pretty. So it might be a little tough to see the markings. But right now, I got about 8.3, 8.4 gallons of wort, which is what I needed. So here shortly, I'm going to start the boil. I'm also, because of the program, I got the last runnings. And I'm going to be taking, obviously, a pre-boil OG, original gravity as well. Okay, see you in a bit. So, not to a boil yet, but you can kind of see the protein starting to come to the surface. So I'm about probably close to halfway there before it starts getting that boil. Just gotta start watching the boil over. Same thing like my HLT. I had a little bit of a leak right there. So, but it seemed to seize, so I don't know if it, the heat kind of helps seize it up, or I just need to just get better gaskets. So, but almost there to that boil. All right, we're here at the hot break, almost a rolling boil. So here in a couple minutes, I'll go ahead and be adding the first addition of hops at the 60-minute mark. All right, so far about 42 minutes into the boil. Have another 3 minutes and 15 seconds before I do my second addition. I've already got my ferment bucket with some PBW. Gonna start sending it here in a little bit, and then mine those. I got my neighbor came over with these things, and so yeah. So here I have my recirc bucket. Comes in. Got a control valve. Comes out into my pre-chiller. This goes into my plate chiller. So this is my inlet. Cold water in. There's this thing, cold water out. Comes all the way out. back into the recirc bucket. When it's time to start cooling the wort, I have a quick disconnect on my boil pot. That's going to come down into here. I just have this tube right here just to kind of protect it, because this is all star sand on the inside. And so the hot wort's going to come in right here, do its thing, and the cold wort is going to come out of this tube into the ferment bucket, and hopefully that comes out at the temp that I'm requiring it to be. So a few more minutes and I add my second addition. So we are almost done with this bad boy. See you in a little bit. Alright, if you can hear that, timer's going off for my 15-minute mark. So in goes another ½ ounce East Coast Goldens and the Styrian Goldings. Right in the boil pedal for 15 more minutes. Alright, here we go. Alright, I got less than 10 minutes left till my boil's done. I've already added the rest of the hops. I've added the Irish moss, yeast nutrient. Got everything ready, hooked up. Got my quick disconnect, high temp silicone hose to hot wort goes in, cold wort comes out. It's going to go down to my ferment bucket. So I got everything ready to go. So as soon as that timer goes off again, cut the heat, start running everything, and hopefully everything's what I want it to be. Alright, sorry you guys didn't get a chance to see the wort chiller, plate chiller in action. Still having some problems with it cooling it down. I think I narrowed it down why. This worked wonderfully coming out at boiling. This was still coming out at about 100 degrees. So obviously, 20 degrees, 25 degrees, a little too hot. I think I narrowed it down to my pre-chiller. I used big blocks of ice versus using like crushed up ice. So I think surface area for the ice is what's killing me on cooling this wort down. But it was still wonderful. In a matter of seconds, it'd cool it down to 100 degrees, like I said. So what I'm going to be doing is, this is full. This has 6 or so gallons for 5-gallon batch, I think. So I still got to do some things to that. I got to take a OG reading on it and get this sucker cooled down as fast as I can, so I can pitch my yeast. So you can see here in my boil pot, I've already taken the 2 bags of hops out. But this is all the stuff, the trub, and anything that might have leaked through the hop bag. Yeah, you look at all that stuff. I used to suck all that stuff up and put it in my fermentation bucket. So I mean, look at all that. Hot break, the proteins. This stuff's gross. I'm glad I started using a freaking screen on this thing. Now, it didn't stop everything. I know I still have some other stuff in there, but it's not as bad. So, it's just another idea for you guys to put some kind of screen in there, so you're not putting all that crap into your freaking fermentation bucket. That's gross. Okay, now it's time to aerate the wort. I have here is a Aerate 2.0 oxygen tank, the 5-micron stone filter or stainless steel filter. Basically, all it is you got to put air back into the wort for about 30 seconds or so. It's easy enough. You just stick it right there in the wort. Let's see if I can get a better picture of it. You just stick it in. Left-handed threads, so righty-loosey. By the way, everything was sterilized for quite a long time. This is to make sure that you get a good yeast growth in your wort. Because if your yeast has to struggle, you'll wind up getting off flavors and whatnot. Like I said, all it needs is about 30 seconds. That's it. That's it. All that's left is to pitch the yeast and let it ferment. Alright, now that my wort is aerated, you might be able to see some of the bubbles up on top. This is a 1600 milliliter or 1.6 liter yeast starter. This is 30 hours. I made it about 10 o'clock yesterday morning, and it's about 2 o'clock the next afternoon. It's pretty simple. Right here, I got super magnet holding my stir bar, so that way when I pitch this, I don't have my stir bar in there either, and then I have to fish for it when I transfer it to the secondary. So pretty simple. This thing's been spinning around for 48 or 36 hours or so. It's pretty simple. Put it over and you pour your yeast in. Whole thing. You're gonna have yourself some happy beer. So that's fine. So hopefully you enjoyed this brew session with me, and hopefully if I remember to make updates or a part 2 to this video. Cheers and happy brewing.